Now, Jude Bellingham, I spoke about it yesterday, and my initial thoughts were like, I thought his body language was disappointing. And now I've had a few moments where I've kind of watched Jude Bellingham, and I think one that stuck in my mind was Borussia Dortmund versus Rangers, and he was sort of waving his arms and he was getting frustrated. And I wanted to sort of dive into that because I think what's really dangerous here is that obviously Jude Bellingham has been built up so much. I love him. I absolutely love him. And I thought, okay, you're really frustrated. What, you're a prima donna now? No, probably not. Let's have a little look and let's dive a little bit deeper. And so first of all, let's talk about Jude Bellingham's performance. Didn't totally work. I think there are moments where he's doing a lot for the team, which I'll show you. But the big problem for him was losing the ball in this one. Kind of the areas of the pitch he was in is probably not exactly the same areas of the pitch. And obviously this team, the chemistry is not at the level, and you're not got the same runners as Vinicius Jr. There's not the same fear in the opponent as he will have with Real Madrid as well. And I thought what was really interesting was we went on to StatHead. And if you want to get yourself StatHead subscription, you can do. Links in the description. You get yourself a free month. So you can get a month absolutely for free. And then you can get 20% off an annual subscription. So I wanted to dive into it. So for English players and their take on success rate. In terms of number of attempts to take on defenders while dribbling, 3.8 per 90 this season for Real Madrid. And his success rate, which you can just about see, just to the right of me there. God, that's good, isn't it? There. is 51.5%. And we're able to go and get into the weeds of this with StatHead. Honestly, it's so good. Single seasons, 23-24, men's club competition, big 5 European leagues, minimum 5 90s, eligible for England, sorted by descending take-on attempts. Wow. Comprehensive, right? And then I looked at FB Ref and his stats from last night. And what's interesting here is that he attempted 5 take-ons. Only 1 was successful. And obviously, therefore, the success rate was 20%. He was tackled 4 times. 80% of the time, of course, he was tackled. So from that point of view, I then started to think, well, that would frustrate you, obviously. So let's now have a look at the clips. Let's first of all look at his frustration, because I think 2 things can be true here. And I think, do you know what I think about? I think about Roger Federer. Roger Federer, with utter grace as a tennis player, and obviously one of the greatest of all time. And honestly, I don't think you can overhype Jude Bellingham. I think he's phenomenal as a footballer. I love his tenacity. He eats the ground. But he does show his frustration. And I remember Roger Federer apparently as a youngster, he used to have that same problem where he would just, smash rackets, all these things that you would never imagine with Roger Federer. And then either he had a sort of talk with himself or someone had a talk with him and said, you can't give that to people, and you can't do that to yourself. And I think in a team game, obviously for individual sport, tennis, but as in a team game, I think he's got to work on it. He's got to work on that frustration. And look, he cares so much, you can tell, and he's desperate to do it. And I think this is a great set of shots here that explain both the frustration, and I think some people are going to take that the wrong way. And hopefully you kind of hear it here first, because I was sort of thinking, I don't want to do this to him. But I think other people are going to jump on this and then just do this sort of character assassination on him. And it's not right. It's not the right thing to do. But I'll show you the frustration first, and then I'll show you why he's frustrated. So this is in the 36th minute. So I think important here, look at the clock, 36:38. Okay, the ball's come out, and Jude Bellingham, who eats ground, not literally, with his feet, he has pressed. He's worked really hard. He's then curved his run to stop that passing lane, and he's hoping for a bit more from the rest of the team. He's expecting them to be, aligned with him a bit higher, bit higher, bit higher. If we move it on, Declan Rice isn't there. They're not at it. They're not up, and you can see he's frustrated. Arms out. He's annoyed. He's annoyed because he wants more, and it's standards as well as anything. So different people are going to interpret this in different ways. And I'm not saying as good as Roger Federer. I'm just talking about, elite sport and what players have to do. They have to sort of, and especially in team sport, what they have to do, and how they have to deal with their frustrations, right? Because these are humans. These are human beings. So he's disappointed with the press there. 36:43, that is. This is 36:59. So very shortly after, he's doing another pressing action this time. Declan Rice is trying to help him because he's obviously just been told off. The rest of the team is in a far more sort of simple set position. But Jude Bellingham's disappointed again. And again, we zoom it in, head to the sky. He's frustrated. He's actually so frustrated that he then points, I think, at Harry Kane, possibly the defender, not totally sure, and then actually looks. He actually looks to the bench because he's frustrated. And I think this is the thing that I've been really impressed with. Like these moments of frustration, you keep watching. Seconds later, he's back at it. Seconds later, he's showing that tenacity, stamina, desire to help the team and to win. So we've just shown you 2 instances there. 20 seconds later, he's come back again. He could just stand up front. He could just do that. He could just chill. Doesn't want to do that. He wants to get back. He wants to help. He wants to affect the game. And you've got to love that about him. So calls for dropping him is, be wary of that. So he's coming back and he's getting at him. And we move it on again. Again. Another action. Eating the ground. He's got 3 players around him. He's going to go and do it himself. These are all positive traits. And again, they're able to get the ball away. But overall, the press isn't strong enough. Overall, the press isn't as tenacious. And once again, you can just about see him, hopefully. He's annoyed. He's really annoyed. And I just think I could see the media jumping on that and kind of doing it for the wrong reasons. Is it right? Is it helpful? Not totally sure. Well, it's not helpful, is it? And there are moments where he's not getting the ball and he's sort of flapping his arms. I just think it's something he needs to think about because it's an easy change. It's not like, we can't do that. So why is that happening? Well, when we talk about this midfield and we talk about Bellingham and Foden and if they can play together, this passing network, again, people will read this wrong and they'll think they're on the same spot. They're not in the same spot. They're in different spots. So there were moments when Foden would stay wide and Bellingham would drop here. And then there were moments where Foden would do that and Bellingham would make that run. But what has to be remembered with this, because again, people could clip up that him flapping his arms. And me, myself, I had that snapshot last night and I spoke about it. Why is it happening? This is in the first few minutes. Like, he is a human. Starting in that position there. Drives. Good God, he drives. Doesn't get the ball. Second time. He picks up the ball here. Again, think about the running that other players do and how elite he is in terms of being, and just the desire. He's just incredible. He's really deep here, obviously. But if we move it on, he then is on his way. That is a full-on sprint he's doing. And driving. Why is he doing that? Just to create some space. Just to take this player away. Sacrificial runs. It's starting behind Declan Rice. And also to create space for Harry Kane. He does that. It's very unlikely he's going to get the ball, but he wants to break the line. He wants to work hard. He wants to affect the game. This is early on in the game. Another one. This is about 20 minutes. Driving run. And do you know what the other thing that's great is? You can see from his body language here. Once that ball is popped back, it's only just left Foden's foot. He's gone. So these are all great attributes when we're talking about stretching it. And if you can see, this is the 25th minute. You can see this is the first time his body language is just a little bit different. He's starting to get a little bit frustrated, maybe a touch tired. And people talking about him being leggy. Of course he's bloody leggy. Like, he is doing so many runs for the team. Gay gets on the ball. Yeah, you know what's happening. He's driving, making that run. I thought Phil Foden did it as well, but Phil Foden likes to sort of play and go. Bellingham eats the ground. He drives. Again, another option. And on another day, the ball's a little bit better. He's able to take that touch, and we've got ourselves a goal, guys. It's a simple tap in. Saka at the back post as well. But the ball's not exactly right. So this is driving stuff. And again, we talk about Harry Kane, people saying dropping too deep. And as this team looks to evolve and understand, it's about that eye contact. It's about that moment where you see that player and go, oh, I know what you want to do. And that comes with time and comes with games. Of course it hasn't clicked. But this pass from Kane only comes if Jude Bellingham makes that run. And it's the IQ of the guy. The intelligence is there. But the dribbling itself, maybe not as phenomenal as a Foden, but in terms of driving and running and offering something to the team as a passing option, that pass is obviously phenomenal. But that pass does not happen without Jude Bellingham. So you can understand when he's working so hard with the ball, when he's working so hard without the ball, why he is getting frustrated. You know, he's a young lad. So there's still things that, you know, he needs to mature and that will come. But I think it's impressive stuff.